Before we start today's video, check out our merch shop, linked in the description down below. Use code ahsoka in all caps to get $7 off your order. May the force be with you, and enjoy the vid.
Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up guys, Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well and welcome to my Star Wars Skeleton Crew Episode 3 review/breakdown video. We are going to be discussing a number of different references, things that you might have missed throughout the episode, as well as an Easter egg breakdown of the overall episode. We of course are going to go ahead, we're going to hop right on into it, break it all down for you guys with everything that we know and everything that we're anticipating right now. Before we do though, however, grab that subscribe button if you haven't already, as we're discussing and covering all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel. So if you guys are into any of that, go ahead and grab that subscribe button today. Make sure you hit that notification bell as well to be notified for when we have new videos dropping here on the channel almost daily. There is a lot of Star Wars news and stuff going around. It can be a lot to keep track of. It's exactly why we are here. Not just to keep you guys updated with everything, but also break it down for you guys and get a better understanding. As always, I really appreciate all of the support. Okay, so in this video, we are going to be taking a quick read from dorksideoftheforce.com as an overall garnering source. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. Yes, of course, it should also go without saying that there are spoilers ahead for Skeleton Crew's third episode. The non-spoiler review or kind of breakdown of it is that it keeps up the same energy, it keeps up the same goodness that the first two episodes did offer, and this is, it's amazing to see a good Star Wars show, and one that a lot of people are agreeing with and having fun with, and that in itself is kind of all I have to say, like, non-spoilers. So, week 1 of Star Wars Skeleton Crew has a banger premiere. Episode 1, this could be a real adventure, introduced our young protagonists and group of kids, and took us to the mysterious world of At-Aten. Then episode 2, way out past the barrier, zipped them across the galaxy to a pirate hub of Port Borgo, where they're thrown into a brig. Here they meet a mysterious Force user who agrees to help them get home. After hearing about how At-Aten might be a legendary treasure world, the whole idea of Jad Nana Wood or Jude Law's character being Force sensitive isn't even in the question anymore after episode 3. So let's recap everything that you might have missed in Star Wars Skeleton Crew's episode 3, titled Very Interesting as an Astrogonan Problem. We open on the home of At-Aten of the Undersecretary Farah, the mother of Fern of the group of kids. All of the missing children's parents are also there, including KB's moms, Neil's parents, and Wendell, Wim's father, who saw the kids take off the starship. A safety droid arrives from the mysterious supervisor. Because the kids went outside the barrier, the supervisor is refusing to contact the New Republic. The parents understandably cause an uproar, demanding to see and meet with the supervisor. Back on Port Borgo, Jad Nana Wood successfully does help the kids, Wim, Fern, Neil, and KB, escape their prison cell and along with them. Fern is quite wary of Jad despite Wim's excitement to meet a real quote-unquote Jedi. And as I had mentioned later and kind of just throughout this entirety of this episode, Crimson Jack, or Jad Nana Wood, is definitely 110% a Force user, maybe not a Jedi though. Jad says it was no use freeing himself from a jail cell if he didn't have a ship to go to, which does make sense, put two and two together, as he wouldn't be able to get out of the port without one. Wim is all about this new Jedi friend of theirs, and Jad is being the perfect Force user he needs to be to keep the trust of the children. In a moment of when Jad is away, the kids bicker about whether or not to trust this guy. He comes back, having beaten up a person for their blaster, and the group sneaks out of the crowd where it's easier to hide. They make their way through and hop on a ferry back to their ship, the Onyx Cinder, and Fern is seriously doubting how easy this all kind of was. And when they do arrive back to their ship, this is where the kids decide that they actually want their droid back, SM-33, and decide that they need to make a go back to the port to get him. Jad wants to take them on an expert on star maps to help the kids find their home, but before they do that, the kids are adamant to not leave their droid SM-33 behind. He came with the ship and knows it better than anyone else there. Fern calls him out, saying, "I thought a Jedi would never leave a man behind," kind of cornering Jad into it. Wim throws his full belief that Jad can do anything with the Force, and Jad finally relents, telling the kids to stay there where it's safe on the ship. Finally, after going through the Bad Batch kind of show, not as a complaint, but you have to admit it's a bit awkward to have a kid like Omega out in a war zone with the rest of the Bad Batch. So the fact that they didn't do this with this show is kind of a positive thing, I think, if for anything. Anyway, as Jod moves through the crowd, an announcement goes up that Captain Silvo, or Jod Nana Wood, from Episode 1, has escaped from the brig, confirming that Jod was the captain in the opening scene all along from Episode 1, although that's something I think that everybody kind of already agreed upon. He gets to a droid hub and finds SM-33 in almost no time and the rat that lives in his eye hole. And he's trying to free the droid. He's found by an old crewmate named Benjar Pranik. Apparently this guy doesn't realize everyone is looking to capture Silvo and wants to have tea with him instead. Jod is trying to leave when Benjar says he should report the Force user to the Captain Brutus, the new captain. Jod freezes and needs to kill Benjar, but they kind of cut from there. Meanwhile, the kids are still debating on whether or not Jod is a Force user and actually a Jedi. Fern brings up that he could be using magnets, a nice callback to Obi-Wan Kenobi's Haja Estri, who's pretend to be a Jedi with magnets from the Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus show. Suddenly, there's a blaster fire outside. Jod is already racing his way back to the ferry, weaving in and out as he's chased by other ferries with pirates in spacesuits after him, causing all types of ruckus and explosions and blaster fire. He dumps SM-33 onto their ship and jumps into the pirate chair and punches the Onyx Cinder into flight. But it, of course, is not going to be that easy. They're trapped on a fuel line. Jod starts spinning the ship to snap the line as Brutus realizes that he's escaping in that ship, and Brutus calls for the cannons to fire upon the vessel. Jod hits the hyperdrive, snapping the line, and as they're able to make their way out just in time, the massive wire flings back, crashing into Port Borgo, causing all types of an uproar and explosions going on over there, kind of taking out a bunch of stuff, which was honestly pretty cool to see. In the safety of hyperspace now, KB powers SM-33, the droid, back on. Jod makes the kids food and treats the droid as a servant and kind of disowns him even at that. It's honestly a very typical thing to see this in the Star Wars universe, but not usually with main characters because they're droids, they're fun, they're friends. As Jod searches the captain's quarters for new clothes, weapons, and maybe whatever else he can find, SM-33 finds him, he corners him, kind of questions him, saying that he's not going to take orders from Jod because he's not his boss, he's not his captain. As the kids eat, the kids wonder if there really is treasure on their own homeworld, questioning their own world, their own sanity almost, in their own lives. Neil mentions that it could be a part of the supposed quote-unquote great work that's mentioned a couple of times throughout this episode as well as the first two. This great work is something that the planet always seems to be working towards, and kind of something that's set up from the get-go that they're all kind of supposed to be able to work on as they grow up. Their parents are mostly analysts, and Wim realizes that research is for their money, supposedly. A friendly reminder from Episode 2 that their planet uses old Republic credits that aren't found around anymore. The pirates in that episode realize Wim's lunch money from his dad is a small fortune for the rest of the galaxy. Wim hides his credits as Jod Nana Wood does return, and all of the kids begin to head to bed, except for KB, which I think this was a bit of a highlight and a bit of a complaint from the first two episodes, is that they didn't learn much about the character of KB. She doesn't think that he is actually a Jedi and kind of questions it. She's calculated all of the odds, and he tells her that not everything can be calculated, and that she must learn not to trust her data Vaser, and much rather should trust her gut. A few hours later, they come out of hyperspace to the moon. They walk out into the wilderness, and the kids wonder why they didn't land closer. Fern realizes he's trying to hide the ship. He admits his friend might be a bit of a backstabber, although the kids don't necessarily understand that. Inside this compound laboratory, a woman named Kim sees Jod approaching with the children. She calls in a dispatch to patrol for Jod's arrest as she thinks that he's up to some mischief. The woman will kind of stall the group as long as she can. Kim calls him by his name, Crimson Jack, instead, and begins to welcome them inside. This whole idea of being named another name and being called Crimson Jack instead begins to make the kids question things as well. Kim is an owl kind of woman. I'm not exactly sure sure what species she's supposed to be, because I'm not sure that we've ever actually seen this species before. But if you may know, let me know in the comments down below. She swoops down to meet the children and Crimson Jack. When the children mention that they're from the planet of At-Aten, Kim flies up to get her scroll, or some type of map. She reveals that their home has been very purposely hidden from the rest of the galaxy, and that long ago, there were multiple worlds called the Jewels of the Old Republic, which were hidden for their protection, but all were destroyed except for one, being At-Aten. What had destroyed those other worlds is kind of unknown, but it's definitely the main reason for why At-Aten remains hidden and protected by the barrier. Jod and Kim realize the children are the map. Her compound is an observatory, and she begins to ask them questions about their world to kind of narrow it down a bit more. The kids have missed major moments in history, like the Galactic Civil War, the war between the original trilogy with the Rebellion and the Empire, Alderaan's destruction in A New Hope, and Kim finds that fascinating. She then takes off a metal symbol from Fern's backpack, running it by Nobulus that could match the barrier that surrounds their planet, and she narrows it down to a few thousand worlds. Jod then realizes that she is indeed stalling, and that she's actually has potentially had already found the coordinates, and that there are X-Wings inbound, and that he needs to speed up the process and make an escape. Whether or not she was actually able to find the coordinates of At-Aten is something I find a bit skeptical, that she was able to do it so fast, so that's kind of something a bit up in the air. I definitely do think and believe that the kids will make their way back home by either the 4th or 5th episode. If this was the way that they had done so, though, however, is kind of what I find a bit of a theory and kind of up in the air, because she was able to do it so fast. Like, why haven't other people done this before, especially if At-Aten is supposedly such a great planet that has all this treasure and everything, of course. Kim then goes on to attack Jod, screaming at the kids to make a run for it. As he shoves her off, taking up the data chip from her search, he shoots her computer so she doesn't have this information and the coordinates of At-Aten, and that they only do as he takes the chip. All of the kids run out to follow him except for KB. She checks on Kim, who tells her to not trust her gut and instead to trust her head, unlike what Jod had told her earlier. She also lets KB know that she is only a call away, from any time if they ever need help. And with that safely net in place, KB hurries out after the rest of the group. X-Wings are swooping in and out of the moon, searching for the ships in various craters, and it's only 2 X-Wings. The kids want answers out of Jod and refusing to get onto the ship, and even calling SM-33 for backup. Reminder from episode 2, he does recognize Fern as the captain. He finally spills the beans that he's just as lost and alone as the kids really truly are, and that he also admits that he's never actually said that he was a Jedi, simply just a Force user. As I had mentioned, this is where some of that confusion does come in. He makes a deal with the kids to get them back to their home and maybe get a reward. KB demands that he work for them, which Jod agrees to in the moment, but really he's the one kind of giving the orders because, well, the kids don't know what to do. They take off with the X-Wings swooping in and following. Only SM-33 was repairing the hyperdrive, so they needed to stall for a bit of time. He puts Neil, of all people, in charge of flying the ship and evading the patrol. Taking Wim and Fern to go help him, Jod heads to work on the hyperdrive. KB, meanwhile, puts the data disk with the coordinates into the computer and pulls up the coordinates. Fern and Wim are put onto gunner positions to help keep the X-Wings back from their escape. Wim is having the best time of his life in this part of the adventure. KB gives the okay that their ship is clear and that they're able to make the jump to hyperspace. The X-Wing pilots tell Kim he doesn't want to risk the children on the ship. That's kind of why they don't kind of go after it for one, but also for another, they don't know where it went into hyperspace. She also says he doesn't believe her about where the kids are actually going on this planet of At-Aten. And remember, of course, it is this hidden world of treasure and simply a part of folklore at that. What an amazing episode once again. I've absolutely been loving this show thus far. My only complaint is I wish that this episode was maybe a little bit longer, and that maybe the whole process of actually finding the coordinates to At-Aten was maybe a little bit more complicated and a little bit more, a little bit more detail into it. As I had mentioned, I felt like that part was a little bit rushed, but it kind of also, as I had also mentioned, brings up some theories for did they actually find the coordinates, or are they going to have to do do it some other way, because they do say it narrows it down to a couple thousand worlds instead. So like, was she telling the truth, or was she actually stalling, and like, you know, kind of what's going on with that. My only other complaint is, well, of course, having a longer episode would have been nice. But then again, if the story doesn't call for it, then it's not necessary. Next week's Tuesday, it cannot come soon enough. I'm very pumped up for the show, and I have been absolutely loving it. Guys, let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been an unofficial Star Wars. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Different theories as well. I'm all ears. Let's discuss. I love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Also, leave a like on the video, as it really does help out the channel. I really appreciate it. Make sure you also check out our merch shop. Use our codes ahsoka in all caps to get some cash off of your orders. I also have some Amazon affiliate links in the description down below, so if you're looking to buy something from Amazon, whether it's a gift or something for yourself, check out our available links in the description down below. It helps out the channel at no additional cost of yourself and really means a lot. I'll continue to keep those links updated, so they're always changing, so make sure you check them out for what new products we may have available. With whatever way you decide to support the channel, whether it's simply watching today's video or even purchasing a product, it means the absolute world to me. So thank you guys so much. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.
Goodbye, old friend. May the Force be with you.